Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Proving Grounds Pod, your one-stop shop for all things Proving Grounds. My name is Max, and I'm joined by my constant co-host Cubby, who interrupted my intro just to tell me that he loves me. And also, today on this very special day, we have with us Ido, the current head coach for Evil Geniuses Prodigies. We're here with episode 27. Ido, how are you doing today?
Doing okay. I am still figuring out a lot of the craziness that's been happening, but it's nice to just sit down and talk about things now.
Craziness abound. It's been a very fun week. We had the Academy roster lock, and with that came some shakeups for you and for Evil Geniuses and also for 100 Thieves.
Hmm.
Um let's just hop right into that right away. So for those of you who don't know, Tomio has just been promoted to the Evil Geniuses Academy roster, and now there is an empty slot for EGP.
There is, yeah. It's me. And that's a spoiler alert. I'm playing too.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you're being serious right now. You're just
No,
so stoic.
I'm not.
Okay. uh I assume that will be announced very very soon. I don't think we're going to be announcing that on this show. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah, as far as the announcement goes, I'm not really sure, but I mean, we scrim, so
Mm.
word is gonna get around. It's gonna be another world's worst kept secrets, I'm sure. Um, so yeah, it'll probably get around before the announcement even comes out.
Probably.
Makes sense.
But I respect announcements. You know, you got to give some hype
It's the
to
fun
whatever
part, yeah.
players coming in. Yeah.
It's the fun part.
Yeah, it is. So I know that that's probably been a tougher week for you, but hey, congrats on having someone, I guess, quote unquote, graduate. Um, what's that feeling for you, like as a coach, having someone like move up, but also having to fill that spot? As like that's kind of bittersweet, right?
I thought it'd be a lot more bittersweet, like you're saying, than it actually is. Of course, Dan moving up, or Danny moving up was, anyone could see that coming. I was
Yeah.
prepped for it, and it came in an off season too, where we had plenty of time to find someone.
Mm-hmm.
This one definitely a lot more not out of the blue, but definitely wasn't too ready for it. But I mean that's the whole point, right? Is you've got to understand where you are as an LCS tier 3 team, and that is to develop prospects for your academy and your LCS rosters, and when they're ready, they're ready. And maybe this time it's inconvenient, but I mean, it's no big deal in the grander scheme of all of our careers. So, I mean, there's nothing but happiness for Tomio. No one is upset. No one's regretful that we could have
Oh yeah.
kept him another week. It's just, we all love Tomio. We're all really happy for him.
Absolutely. Like you're saying, it is a little bit bad timing for EGP specifically, as
Only a little, yeah.
yeah, you're in the middle of now top four. You're going in for EGL, fighting for your qualification for Proving Grounds.
At
Just
least you know your opponent now. And I
yeah,
guess
I
that's a
I
mean
good
you
do.
do.
caveat.
I
Congrats to
do.
AoE. A nice 2-1 over Zeus. I'm bummed that series wasn't streamed. I get why. But I thought that was one of the most competitive series in quarters for EGL. And it seems like that was the way the series went, as I heard that game 3 was like 3-3 in Dragons, like back and forth the entire way. Um, but I'm kind of curious, like, were you expecting to see AoE? And, like, what are your thoughts or initial diagnosis on them, like, as the coach at EGP?
I mean, of course, I'm not gonna do prep until I know for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair on my part to admit, no. I mean, of course, you think Zeus is gonna win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that AoE is bad or AoE was for sure gonna lose the series, but I think everyone thought, you know, look at that Zeus top side. Look at their bot lane that already has synergy. I mean, it's pretty hard not to pick them in a best of. Um, so yeah, good on AoE for proving everyone wrong there. I'm sure you proved quite a lot of people wrong, including myself.
Like, would in saying that, do you think that this is the opponent that you would have preferred to play against?
I would love to play against anyone.
Okay.
I appreciate all my opponents in the amateur scene, and I respect them all equally.
Very wholesome. I liked that. Okay. So it's a good PR answer. You weren't lying when you said earlier that you're a good PR boy. That's great.
No, I'll drop that. That's garbage. I mean,
It's gonna be a fun hour.
stylistically, the thing about Zeus was that we had already had a tough best of 5 against some. What was the tournament before this? Was it Cup?
Risen was right before this,
Risen,
and then
yeah.
Cup was before that.
So we had a tough best of 5 against them in Risen, where I think the series was closer than the score let on.
Mhm.
But as for the amateur players going up against these counterparts, I mean, how can Aspect not, be at least a little bit nervous that he's facing someone who's had LCS experience? The same for Tomio, the same for Surdy.
Mhm.
And that's not to say that AoE obviously didn't match them well today, but having a short memory isn't really something that amateur players have, to be quite honest. So that best of 5, it really does linger in the back of your head for a little bit. It will be refreshing, if nothing else, that we get to play AoE instead of Zeus.
Yeah, the memory span is definitely something that I've experienced because players will come to me and be like, "Oh man, I remember this one play that happened, and oh, you were casting this game, Smacks," and then they like explain the play. I'm like, I totally forgot that happened.
Yeah.
It's way different when you're actually playing in the series, you know.
That
And
it's
you guys have
yeah. No, I keep going, Smack. Sorry.
Well, you guys have had some
Yeah.
really close series over the past few tournaments too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one against Wildcard rings a bell. You took them to game 5. And I mean even before that in the spring proving grounds, right? So hitting top 6 there is no easy feat. So
Mm-hmm.
And
I
yeah,
go ahead,
that's where I
Cubby.
was gonna chip in because
Yeah,
I think that AoE's main team has actually played a lot of really close series that
true.
got them out early. Like the one notably against AoER, that knocked him out of Cup, the 3-1. There were 2 games in there where a Baron was stolen, and there was a base defense where like 3 characters on AoER lived with like 100 HP. And AoE had a Tristan in that game. Like with the 100 HPs, like a Baron was stolen, which like stalled out the game in extra 5 minutes, like AoER had the scaling comp, right? Like that was a really close 3-1 series. And so I feel like both your teams are a little bit slept on going into the semifinals for this one, which makes me excited. I think that's going to be a really fun semifinals matchup.
Yeah, I think so too. Even though I just said like short-term memory isn't really a thing in amateur, a lot of players and coaches linger on a team and start to form like a mental block.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly can't remember if we've played AoE before, have we? I swear we played them at least once.
We're getting an update in the chat from Riley who said that you played them in the cup groups.
In
So
cup groups. Okay, I mean that was like a month ago or something.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean I'm sure they've gotten a lot better. We have too. As far as like something edgy that I can say about it,
well,
I
you don't have to
think
dig deep if you don't want to.
no, I mean I think that they've got roster change-ups with their new support. Obviously, it's going really well. Um, we're still figuring things out, so I don't know if it's going really well. But I think we'll be on even footing as far as roster shakeups. I don't think there's going to be any excuses to be made on either side. It'll be fun to match up again. We haven't scrimmed in a long time, so I think that'll be like a fun check-in since last time.
Uh, Touching on the roster moves just a little bit more. We already mentioned Tomio being moved up, but in your quarterfinal match, we saw that Shoryu wasn't present for that.
Mm-hmm.
I assume he's coming back for semis. Is that correct?
For semis, no.
Oh, okay. So you're sticking with Saskia for that then?
Uh, to be determined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you mind touching on why that is a little bit, or is that we don't have to get anything too personal with what's going on if you don't want to?
Yeah, I mean, just to leave like as much detail out without people just wondering, what's going on is um during the tournament, at some point we had decided that it was a good idea for Shorty to take a little bit of a break, and for us to, let him sit out for a little bit, and we bring in an emergency sub. We're really, really grateful to Saskio. He performed great, and was awesome for us.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, what happened isn't really too important, but things are going to be smoothed out pretty soon.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I definitely big vouch for Saskio there. He even performed very well against some of his former teammates, the Throppers. One is
Oh
greater
yeah,
than two, as it turns out.
oh yeah. They had some fun things to say to each other in pregame. Something about why is a D1 player subbing for you?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair to Saskio, he has less than 300 games in his account because I was looking it up beforehand. He's been spamming of late because he got the new computer. He graduated. He's been enjoying graduation, right? Doing some coaching and streaming. And it was cool to see him step in. I mean, obviously, solo queue rank is one thing and skill and competitive match is another. Saskio's proven over the years that he's very skilled in competitive matches. So it was nice to see him step up. I know that he wasn't going to play the Ziggs for you guys, but hey, his Varus was very nice and he had a good Kaisa game 3 and helped you guys secure the series victory. So can't really say anything better about Nisub than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, he gave us everything we wanted, right?
Yeah.
He he clicked champions. He did well in lane. He followed calls, and that's A plus in my book. That's about as good as it gets.
I tend to agree, especially from the marksman role. That's what I want from my marksman duo, is to just listen to all my words and then click what I say. It's always good. Shout out to
Yeah.
Alk Battery.
I can't lie. I was looking back at that VOD actually. He had some really sick plays.
He did.
Yeah.
The game one especially, like the flashes against who was trying
Frost
to get
Forest.
the Lee, yeah, Frost Forest Lee Sin, where he's like
Mhm.
flash chain of corruption and the Lee was way too deep to get any response from his team was really good actually.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was really vocal and calling when someone steps up here, they're getting ulted. Everyone's on board already. Like they're watching the spot. Um, yeah, he's a great leader. You can tell he's played the game a long time. He's been on some successful teams, and um, even though I downplayed it as he was clicking champions, but he performed really well, and he actually had some really sick plays.
Absolutely. So, when you have new players coming into your roster, it did happen for this split with Danny being promoted, and you're gonna have to have it happen again with Tomio being promoted too. What is your main priority as a coach to get the new players acclimated to the environment?
Uh, it's a tough question because right now, I mean, ultimately, what you always want is long-term development.
Mhm.
I don't care where we place in Proving Grounds. If I send, if I have 5 players academy ready for next split and we're the last place in Proving Grounds, I mean, what does that matter to me? So it's a bit backwards right now because if we win either best of 5 on Monday or Tuesday, we go straight to Proving Grounds, which would be really nice.
Mhm.
Um, so kind of to backpedal on what I even just said is short-term results are actually pretty important sometimes. This is one of those times where we're going to need our new jungler to put in a bit of overtime. He's gonna get smacking around by myself and by Turtle, our LCS jungle coach. And I think it'll just be give him as much as he can soak up, and see how it goes in the short term, but that's the best plan that we got going forward.
It's funny that like you bring up that point of like your goal, right? Having 5 players academy ready. And that's a goal that's like really different from someone who I think, would be in the shoes of a wild card, where I think just because they're in org where that's their top team, like,
Mm-hmm.
or they have multiple teams, but that's their top team. I think the goal for them would be like, obviously having players that are academy ready that can be bought out is fantastic for an org, but I think they're more concerned about winning, right?
Yeah.
Is that something where like you feel like just being with EG, like you're happy about, like the fact that your goal is to develop players, like rather than win? Like, do you feel like that's a bigger challenge or almost like a cushion? The fact that like as long as everyone's getting better, like you're doing your job, right? Where like results don't
Mm-hmm.
matter as much, right?
I guess I shouldn't like put it to like two extremes of the spectrum of like
Yeah,
last place and 5 academy talents,
yeah.
but um like you said, it is like a cushion. EG puts a ton of trust in me that I really, really love. Um and the hidden secret is if you are developing 5 academy level players, how are they going to do at proving grounds? They're probably going to do pretty well.
Hmm.
So it's got to start with development and the results will follow. Maybe like when you're talking about wild card, you're thinking like, this team's already at this level and they're shooting for this spot. Um, it's not so much about development, it's about, let's kick some academy teams' ass and
Yeah.
then sell off these contracts, right?
Hmm.
Um, Whereas with us, it's just, take your time, develop these players, um, and whatever results you have will be indicative of how you develop these players.
As the new announcement of the 2021 scouting grounds changed your mentality with your goals for this year and your players as well moving forward and trying to get those spots?
Uh, could you ask it like in a different way?
Sure. How did the announcement for scouting grounds affect like the way that you guys were approaching proving grounds, and are you now like
Oh,
fueled
like,
with another fire to get that goal too?
uh, I speaking at least for ourselves, our pipeline is pretty straight as an arrow. Um, if you're on the EG Prodigies program, they want to move you up to EG Academy and then to EG LCS. We're not really concerned as individuals of, oh, I'm gonna go show myself at scouting grounds and then make another academy team. It's we put a lot of trust in the infrastructure that we have at EG. Um, and we know that hard work gets rewarded, as it's been shown a couple times now. So, people might do it for fun. Um, I know Surdy is actually really pumped to try to qualify for scouting grounds just for fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, no one's really looking at it as like, oh, I need this to, get seen. Like we're
Hmm.
we're already in a pipeline that cares about us.
So the player pipeline is pretty clear to like viewers or fans, right? Like, I
Hmm.
mean, you can see the players moving up, doing scouting grounds, doing well in proving grounds, stepping up to academy rosters or anything. But something that isn't seen as much, and I think it's interesting, and like what I've talked to from some of the EG staff behind the scenes, is actually how to help coaches develop.
Hmm.
Um, for you, what's it been like being a part of an LCS org that's led by Peter Dunn with the coaching staff and kind of being mentored by a lot of other coaches at the LCS and academy level as well?
It has been it sounds cliche, but like it really is just a dream come true. Um, I won't speak on like other orgs, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can tell like some coaches or some players like it's 9 to 5. It's work for them.
Mm-hmm.
When they're done with league, they're done with league. With namely Peter and Kelsey, these guys are animals. They wake up, it's league. They go to sleep, the last thing they're thinking about is league. If they sleep. Um and as much as I want to embody that, I'm pretty green around the gills still.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're the ones chasing me up sometimes. It's like, what have you done to develop recently? Like, why haven't you done a one-on-one? Why haven't you read that book that I talked to you about? And, they're kicking me in the ass to do things. And I think that shows another level of care that is really special to EG, that it's not about, come here and do your best and we'll see what happens. We are trying to develop you. So if you're not doing the work, we're going to chase you down for it.
Buy in
And
or
I
leave.
shouldn't need to be chased down. I am
Mhm.
sorry, Kelsey. I am sorry, Peter. Sometimes I get busy. Sometimes I get lazy, honestly. I care a lot. I will schedule one-on-ones later.
It is very easy to be more lazy than Kelsey Moser, to your
It
credit.
is. It is very easy.
I think most people in the world are probably more lazy than Moser. So
Probably.
I don't know when she sleeps. I really don't. That's not a joke.
don't
That's
know.
what the coffee's for. And sometimes
Oh,
beer.
Yeah, Peter's the
oh
same way.
no.
Peter's the exact same way. I don't even know what his sleep schedule is,
My
if it
favorite
exists.
Peter Dunn takes are like when he's in the off season and he's like asking casters of like the Arabic region, like, yo, have you checked out like XYZ's play of late? And you're just like, what the fuck? It's like
That's a region?
I mean like I'm like I don't know like just like a no name region, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like the point, right? Like the fact that like he is knowledgeable about like league at every level like across the world. And for me, like god damn, like I'm keeping up with 3 leagues and like that I have to do from work and it's killing me. Like I can barely watch like LCK or LPL, right? Like I burn
Yeah.
out. So it's pretty wild like hearing a head coach who has way more responsibility than I do like as a caster, right? Keeping
Mhm.
up that much with other leagues across the world. Like that's wild to me. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for Peter, you've got your LCS head coaching position, and then, you've got a coffee break. He takes his coffee break and he goes sits in on academy and he helps out with JoJo or contracts. And then he's got a bathroom break, he comes into amateur and he starts working with Surdy or he starts working with Skytech. This guy, he doesn't stop. Life is about League of Legends for him, and I've never met another person like him before EG.
Are you worried that that'll lighten up if the LCS team goes to Worlds?
No, because one of the biggest things is I know a sentiment was oh, LCS is starting back up, EGP might slump, they're not going to get the help from LCS and academy staff. And I mean, one that wasn't true because these guys, they don't stop.
Hmm.
Their free time is used for academy and amateur development. And two, one of the biggest things that Peter, Kelsey, Nasser, or Empire, um, Turtle, whoever it is, they instill ways to self-help and they instill ways to self-teach. So it's not just about, open wide, here comes the choo-choo train of knowledge. I'm gonna give you the spoon, open up. It's, do you know how to open that baby bottle on your own and start eating out of the baby bottle? And if they go to Worlds, which, it's looking pretty possible,
12-1 in the last 13 games.
12-1, who's counting? Not me.
Cubby is.
It's my job.
Cubby is,
Sorry.
apparently.
Yeah.
Should they go to Worlds and I lose contact with them for a little bit, I don't think that's going to slump our performance at all. I think they've instilled great values in me and how to seek out my own resources other than them, and how to seek out my own personal development other than just the team as well.
Awesome.
So on that like personal development side, because that's like something that I find interesting as a coach, and I'm a remote coach that's part-time, so I'm not putting in nearly as many hours as you, but sometimes I have to wear that hat with one of the things I do. Um, how do you seek out like that personal development or like self-help? Or, like what are some of the best things that like you've done on your own to develop your own coaching skills?
Um, we are pretty 50-50 on half of coaching is game knowledge and half of it is managing your personnel, whether that's players, assistant coaches,
Mhm.
higher ups coming in to help you. Um, one of the things that I mentioned earlier was like, Peter chasing me down. Have you read that book? One of the books that I've been reading, I'm almost done with it, is Atomic Habits, which is like a dive into human nature and how people want to learn and adapt to new scenarios.
Mhm.
And I mean, when was the last time I read a book? If I'm being honest, it was like high school. So like 4 years ago.
Not hitting the college textbooks.
No.
Spark notes.
No. All Spark Notes, all PDF for the textbook, Control F, find the keyword that I need. That is
Nice
a
shortcut.
joke. UIUC college admin, that is a joke.
I have used that. It's a nice shortcut.
It's really good.
I have
It's
my
really
degree,
good.
so I can say that now.
I do too, but
Ooh,
you know,
nice.
you never know if they're gonna rescind that. So it is satire. I'm not serious. It was a joke. What were we even talking about?
The book you read.
How you seek personal development.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Atomic Habits. So it's all about like I thought the book, it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to read a book, blah blah blah, skim through it as always, get ready for a test. But the more that I'm reading this book, it's like, oh my god, that's aspect, or oh my god, that's 30.
Mhm.
You know, I read these things about like human nature, like, and immediately I relate that to a player. I relate that to a problem a player is having. And I say, that makes so much more sense that this is a natural thing. And then they tell you, you know, how do you overcome that? Or maybe I have a meeting with Peter and I say, I disagree with that. I actually don't think that's right. What do you think? So there's been years and years of human psychology and other professional sports coaching. I mean, there's just a wealth of information other than League of Legends
Oh, yeah.
knowledge to look into,
Mhm.
and you're never going to be done with it. That doesn't mean I'm not putting in my own like scrim or my own VOD review sessions just for myself. But I mean, books, watching documentaries, like the Doc Rivers documentary on Netflix is
It's
really, really good.
It's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah. Have you watched The Last Dance too? I know it's not a coach, but it's
I'm
competitive.
halfway through that.
Yep.
I mean, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
I'm from Chicago. I'm a huge Bulls fan.
Yep.
Never been the same.
That's funny, like you bring up like other examples, because like a lot of the stuff that I draw upon is outside of like sports psychology for like golfers specifically. Like there's this sports psychologist, Dr. Bob Rotella, who has coached a lot of great golfers throughout the years that have like won majors, and he's written a few books about like your 15th club in golf and like how you can like, you know, use your head to a lot of like process versus results thinking, but like more tied specifically to like golf and like examples like he's worked with. One of my favorites though, like I think applies to esports coaches, is actually Tony Dungy's book, Quiet Strength. And the interesting part about that one, he went from like being a player to like an all-time coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's about like faith and how he like tied that in the coaching. But he also talks about raising his kids. And the crazy part about that book, he has a kid that doesn't have the sense of touch. So like he can't feel things when like he touches things. And so like he used an example, like one time they're like baking cookies and he just like reached in and like grabbed the cookie platter like right out of the oven, like without oven mitts, because he can't feel the fact that it's hot. He like got 30-degree burns, right? And like I was like thinking of that and like coaching like different like league people, and it's like, oh my god, like how would you like ever coach someone like doesn't have like, or like raise someone like doesn't have the sense of feel, like
right?
And like he talks a lot about how he had to like adapt like his parenting to that and like tailoring like coaching to his son who couldn't feel stuff. It was wild. And it's a good book, but like that passage to me, like of all the ones that he has, like stood out the most, because I'm like mind blown. Like, holy shit, like how do you fucking how do you do with that? Right?
That it's like uncharted territory where only he's had to delve into that.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also if you want to like, if you can be really creative too with some of these books like you're talking about, you know, you have a kid with no sense of, you know, touch. If you really want to be creative, you can relate that to my jungler. Just, he has no sense of mechanics. You know, how did that guy teach his son to overcome difficulties with sense of touch? Is that something that I can relate back to my player? And the more you read these books, it's really disturbing, because I'm starting to annotate things and I'm starting to highlight things in a book, which I haven't done since sophomore year of high school.
But color code it.
Yeah, books are fun now, and you can relate things to your life. You can be creative. audiobooks too, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Max.
I hope everyone in the chat is pulling up like a Goodreads page and writing all this down so you can become a five head coach like Ido. He's literally guiding it out for you.
Specifically
read
like
2
Ido,
books.
not like me, like Ido.
I've
I
read
promise
2
you.
books in
Yeah.
4 years. You do not want to be me. And one of them is Atomic Habits. So we're not off to a good start.
I gotta add that one to my list. That's good. That sounds
Yeah, it's a good
interesting.
one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
That gets the Peter Dunn Gold Star apparently. So
Oh, he's got like 6 more books for me. I'm not going to be done for a long time. I took my time with Atomic Habits. He's like, why haven't you talked about Atomic Habits in a week? I'm like,
you're well behind the
haven't read it.
curriculum.
Yeah, I'm behind the curriculum. It really feels like school. But as it turns out, school's kind of good at teaching things, especially when
Yeah.
it's like hyper specific.
Speaking of school, you are sort of just taking the role of like a year in, year out like teacher, because at the end of this year, all of your students will no longer be attending EGP because the contracts will be forced to expire. So how are you feeling about the change that is going to be forced upon you when that does happen? And are you wanting to stick with the spot that you're at to begin with?
So I guess like two-part answer.
Sure.
Save that second one because I'll definitely forget.
Okay.
As for the first part, I know this is like ripped straight out of Peter's book, but
You've been taking your notes,
you know,
well. That's what it means.
I have every
It's highlighted.
interview this guy is on. I start dreaming about it. I have to start highlighting, printed out, like
if you don't
written out
highlight a
things.
certain passage, you like have to have another coffee with him, like get it right
Yeah.
the next time. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think I meant by this, Ian? I don't know, Peter. I don't know anymore. Can I go back to sleep? It's 2 a.m. I mean, yeah, so to rip it right out of Peter's book is, I think that we have built such a rapport with the league community, both amateur and professional now, that, okay, Skytech, his contract is gone. Surdy, his contract is gone. Aspect, his contract is gone. Who do you think they're going to sign with if they don't get an academy deal? Is it going to be some other amateur team? Probably not. You lose me, you lose Kelsey, you lose Empire, you lose Turtle, you lose Peter. We have so much to offer here. And we've already proven that we promote talent quickly. I mean, what better option is there? And I know I'm kind of putting my sales pitch on it, but it's just proof that I'm really not concerned at all. I know that we have great pull in the scene. And ultimately it's up to the player. Maybe they want to do something else, that's fine. They have the freedom to do that. But I know that no matter what, we'll get players that we're happy with, and we will accelerate them to the next level. And then what was the second part? Because, oh yeah, go ahead, Cubby.
I was about to say that's a cool mentality to have, and I mean I think the right one to do it, right? Like you earn that
Sure,
over
yeah.
time. And as I always like to say, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it burned in the night, right? Like your reputation is much like it's like that, right? As an individual,
You're
or in
getting
your
some
case, as a
mileage
team.
out of that one, aren't you?
Oh, a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I sent that to you earlier as well.
You
Yeah.
did.
I did, yeah.
That's the book that Cubby read and highlighted.
Exactly.
That sentence.
Yep. That's the one you got out of it.
It's a great phrase.
It is, yeah.
It's a
I
good one
actually
to
like
remember.
that.
Yeah.
I heard another one that it was like it was about like bullying or like projecting. I got it from a book also. I'm learning so much. But it was, how do you build the world's tallest tower? Is you either build the world's tallest tower or you burn all the other towers down.
Yeah. Interesting. Anyways, Max, second part.
Yeah, second part.
The second part was asking you how you felt about sticking with the current position that you have within EG, and as the head coach of EGP, do you feel like this is where you want to be for next season as well?
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that's special about EG is that no matter at what level or what role you have, everyone is really bought into their job, and that no one's job is more important than the other. So maybe I'm down here coaching challenger players with no experience, but that's vital if we can't get any academy players. We don't have any new talents because the pipeline down here is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take out academy. How can a player jump from amateur to LCS consistently?
Be Danny.
Be Danny. Be Danny. That's the easy answer.
Easy for him,
but
not for me.
No, not for most of us. As for how that relates to me and my needs and wants is, of course, I want to be the best that I can be. And it's all just a part of, does EG think I'm ready for the next step? Does EG think I fit better in a different position, in a full-time position, in a supplementary position? Just developing myself every day, and then where they need me, I'll fit in as best as I can. Which is something I learned pretty quick, because before EG and probably like a year and a half ago, it was all about, God, I want out of collegiate so bad. God, I want out of amateur so bad. Just give me an academy spot. I'll prove it. I'll prove everything to you. And you learn pretty quickly on EG to pump your brakes. Just take every day, day by day, learn what you can, do your best. And when they think you're ready for something, they think you're ready. Like, look at Tomio. There was no prompt on that. It's just, yep, Tomio looks good now. Let's move him up. And if they want to do the same for me, whenever, then I'm good with that as well.
So this is something that I've actually had a couple conversations about, and it's kind of like the difference in coaching and like NA versus like traditional sports, where, I mean, obviously, like, moving up is something that you seem content with, but also like I think it's great being at the level that you're at, but also like there are different skills of being a coach at like both those levels. And we see coaches in traditional sports like Nick Saban, Coach K, Bill Self, right, who are unbelievable collegiate coaches, but they're collegiate coaches, right? And it seems like right now, like a lot of coaches that are doing academy, like really want to get out, like, and prove themselves at the highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is like needs to happen to kind of normalize more of like specializing in being an academy coach, where you are just developing talent? Like,
right.
What are some of the like the community stigmas like you feel like are like good or bad around that?
Yeah. So just to relate it back to, you mentioned Coach K. Mm-hmm. I mean, if this guy is a quote unquote lesser coach because he's just coaching Duke, then why is he handling the best teams?
Why is he coaching Team USA?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why is he handling the best players that the US has to offer? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't it be the coach of the year in the NBA? Mm-hmm. And that's not because Coach K is a bad coach, but it's because he is so refined in what he does that is an attractive thing for them to use for Team USA. It is a bunch of players that have never played together before, all superstars, all great players. Who knows how to make a bunch of great players that have never played together before work well? A collegiate coach that does that year round, year round, year round. So, as that relates to league, and you were talking about stigmas,
yeah.
I think it goes back to what I just said about Coach K. Is Coach K an inferior coach because of collegiate? No, absolutely not. No one would say that. Just in the same way that we have to think about it in academy or amateur or LCS. Is this guy an inferior coach to another just because he's academy? Maybe for right now, because we're a younger sport. Maybe he's not as experienced. He doesn't have all the game knowledge or the personnel management skills that an LCS coach might have. But it doesn't need to be inferior. It's just you specialize in whatever criteria it is that you think an academy player needs to jump up to LCS. That's what you specialize in. Mm-hmm. You're not worse. You just have a different job. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we're there yet. So the stigma is a little bit warranted almost. But I think we're getting there. And that should wear off with time.
That's good you think that. Because, like, I grew up loving March Madness, right? My birthday is like late March. I used to throw a March Madness party, throw it up, and like, yeah, you're right. It's a different skill set, and those coaches get paid almost as much as NBA coaches do as well for that skill set. I mean, it's because college basketball is a huge business. You're gonna pay the players still this year, but yeah. So,
did you see that? Yeah, did you see that you can monetize your likeness now?
the Bama QB already has over 7 figures in deals.
Yeah, that's
he's
crazy.
never played a game, but he's the Bama QB, so that's
what else do you need?
mind blowing to me. But yeah.
This might be a really hard question, but what would you say as a League of Legends coach is the thing that you specialize in?
I think if it's so corny to say it, but if we're building a house at EG, I'm putting in the floorboards. You know, what does it matter if you've got great looking windows and a roof over your head if you've got nowhere to stand? And that's just a corny way of saying that I'm really good at teaching fundamentals. I'm really good at adapting how I teach those fundamentals to my players. It's not super high level stuff. It's just teaching them this word means this. This word means that. This is what we mean when we want you to do this. This is what we mean when we want you to do this. When you see this in game, we want you to do that. It's when you get to the LCS level, these things are automatic. You don't even have to think about them. They just go. At amateur level, that's what you have to instill, or else it'll never become automatic. So in my role, that's definitely what I've had to specialize in the most, is laying that floorboard, laying the foundation so that as you can get to these higher level concepts, you don't even need to think about the fundamentals. It's just automatic. It's always in the back of your head.
Awesome. I do want to say that if you keep saying that like the thing that you're about to say is corny. I love corny. Corny is not a bad thing to me. I am a Haikyuu fan. Okay.
Very cool.
So I don't know if you ever watched Haikyuu, but
I've watched. I only watch mainstream things. I've never watched Haikyuu.
Okay.
Let's go.
That
Breaking
show
Bad, then.
is
We're
like
good.
I've watched it 4 times.
Breaking Bad is
Great
good,
show.
but
yeah.
This might be a hot take. Haikyuu, a little bit better.
Smax is a fan of
That's
Haikyuu.
not even.
I can't
That's
confirm.
not even apples to oranges. That's cabbage to a birthday cake. I don't even know what you're getting at with that one.
Some damn good cabbage.
Very
Okay, let me
different
tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really cool. I like us as like casters and stuff. We all like try to think of things that we specialize in, and it's really, really difficult to do a lot of the time. I mean, Wolverine just made a tier list where like half
the
the list was
knowledgeable
like,
casters who
these
are boring.
people,
Let's go.
these people don't know how to be a personality or whatever.
Shout out to Wolverine, by the way. He is so funny. I love Wolverine.
That was some prime entertainment.
If Wolverine
wanted
to do stand up, I'd be front row. It's...
I'll be right there with you.
Like, even if like we're talking about like, oh, he's a little ridiculous, so he's funny. This guy is actually so deadpan and hilarious.
The deadpan's what makes it.
He means every word he says, and that's what makes it so much more funny. Even if he's right, it's just
you gotta respect it, you know.
He's the kind of guy you just have to laugh at everything he says.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's had to tell us. We've had him on our show.
He's had some banger takes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the cup. Oh god.
Yeah,
that was fun.
The cup one. We had him on that twice.
We had him on twice for the cup podcast.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
That's
2
fun.
times.
45 minutes
amazing.
total.
That is fun.
It was amazing.
Thank you, Ethan Savelu.
Yeah. What was I even talking about?
It was actually pretty fun. Yeah, I enjoyed having Wolv on. It's a good time.
For sure, yeah. I love his content. I hope he keeps doing what he's doing. I completely lost what I was going to talk about, which probably means that it's time for Cubby to take it away to the collegiate section of this show.
Yeah, so did you get your coaching start in collegiate with like kind of like how did you start off like on your coaching path?
So I started out I was 16 and there wasn't GM back then, but there was Masters.
Dude, I was D1 before.
Am I taking down memory lane?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you were cool before cool was cool.
I
Is
was
what you're
like the
trying to
season
say.
3, season 4, like Hardstuck 90 LPD1. But I
Yeah,
think 91's like
99.
my peak. Yeah.
It's like the 99 LP hard clamp plus 0 every
91's
single
my
game.
peak, but I lived at like 50 to 80 LP for like
That's
a
not bad.
season and a half. Yeah.
Back then, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So I was masters, and as a jungler, I didn't have hands to save my life, and I can't think and do at the same time. I'm really bad at it.
Hmm.
But when I sit down and like rewatch a game or like look over what someone else is doing and remove myself from it, it's so easy to see for me sometimes that like that was just a terrible decision, or that was terrible because of this reason. And coming from a world of traditional sports, I always liked the coaching aspect of it too. So when I was 16 in high school, I just started cold calling everything. I was I was DMing wild card teams. Just let me coach for you. I will write a report on anything you want. Just let me try to help. And this team from Japan called Unsold Stuff Gaming wrote back and they're like, "Yeah, write me a report on this game." And I wrote them a report in really sloppy English, or like really simple dumbed down English so that they could read it. And then they're like, "That was good, write me another." I'm like, "Okay." I write you another. They're like, "That was good, write another." And I'm like, "Can I join the team yet, or am I doing slave labor at this point?" So then finally they're like, "Yeah, we can't pay you though." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. So slave labor, but I'll do it. I'm 16, I don't care." Um, that went okay. Nothing really to write home about, even though that sounds kind of extravagant, that my first
Yeah.
coaching gig was in Japan. Never went there, but I was staying up until 4 a.m. on school nights to watch games.
We got to get him in touch with Josh.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun old LJL stories to talk about. That's a good time.
Yeah, Joshi like could cover the LGL like way back when, like before, like probably like season 4, season 5. So yeah, that's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then back in the golden days of amateur with open qualifiers, that was great. Great time. We had a team called 8.1, Team 8.1, which is like a play off of the old team, Team 8,
Oh yeah.
because it was like 4 of the remaining members from that team. Um, it was Viper actually back then. It was Viper, Shorter Ace, Slushy, XP Cake, and Executioner Ken. And I was god awful by the time. Like by this time, I could contribute nothing. I'm not gonna pretend that I was a good coach back then. Um, but it was so bad back then. We got into the finals, and Team Gates and Delta Fox were the two teams that were in relegation from Academy. And Team Gates or Delta Fox had choice of who they wanted to play of the open qualifier top two. And Delta Fox chose us and Wildcard Black, which became Wildcard Academy, like the OG Wildcard or Wildcard Academy, Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
CLG Academy.
Mhm.
With like Tuesday Wiggly,
Hooks or auto.
yeah, Fallen Bandit,
Yep.
top lane.
Mm-hmm.
And then Phil. Was it autofill
Yeah,
back then?
autofill.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
the joke.
dude, that's so funny, man.
It's so dumb. I don't know why you would do that.
I love it so
You-
much.
It's like the high school couple that
Yeah.
gets tattoos
Tu-
of their names. That's not gonna last.
Tuesday told us that. All right, that's good.
A little bit too nail on the head.
No, Tuesday told us the story on this podcast of like when he was in the kitchen, like when they decided like on the autofill name. It was really funny, but yeah,
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
yeah,
That's a time gone.
but a good team.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
So we were up against Delta Fox, and I don't know why we couldn't watch the games, but we couldn't. We could only be in call. And it was the most traumatizing experience because we'd get into a team fight, everyone would go silent, and we're just waiting for either one of two words is chase them down, we're winning the fight, or just try to get out, is we're losing a fight. And that's all we could determine the game state on, is just try to get out or chase them down.
Oh,
And there were
God.
quite a lot of try to get outs, and we definitely did get out of open qualifiers. We didn't qualify. That was sponsored by Team Liquid, by the way. We were Team Liquid for a little bit. I
Yep.
don't know why, but we were.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, we beat Team Liquid Academy, their Team Liquid Open qualifier team, and then they just, okay, you're Team Liquid Academy now. That's how the transfer happened. I mean, I've got like a lot of fun stories from old stuff when things were simple, but then
Back
going
in
into
the day.
collegiate, back in the day, those were
Yeah.
good times. Then to go into collegiate, I don't actually know how I got the job at UC Irvine, because they said they wanted someone on site, and I'm like, I'm just gonna apply anyway. And then they're like, yeah, sure, you can do it remote. So I'm like, okay, that worked out. So I worked for UCI for a year, and this is back when collegiate was hilarious, because it was a huge deal that we had Youngbin and Bloodwater, because those were like LCS names, and everyone's like, they're cheating. Like, why is that allowed to happen? They shouldn't be allowed.
I remember that.
Look at collegiate now. That's all it is. That's all
I,
top
no,
level
I
collegiate.
remember that. Like, you and RMU were like the only teams that like had that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And looking back on that, it was so funny, because it's just like, how can you not win with that roster?
And then you guys lost. Did you guys lose the UBC? Or was that the year
They
before?
lost to Simon Fraser the year before I was there.
Yep.
And then I got there, and I remember it was a huge deal when we beat Simon Fraser and qualified for top 8.
Well, back then the two best teams were you and Simon Fraser.
I think so,
Unironically.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
And we had Youngbin playing jungle. I don't know why that happened, but we had Youngbin playing jungle and Latman ADC from Team Dragon Knights.
Yep, I remember this team.
Yeah.
Because I was at 2016 PAX East, because I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I remember like I was watching. So like I watched that game. Of course, like UBC won, right? And like. I was watching the finals with Kurt Melcher, like the guy for RMU. I tried to explain like if the game was like going good or bad for his team. Like he had like a rough idea, but I was like, no, like he was like, oh no, and I'd be like, no, like this is good for you guys. Like here's like why, right? Because yeah, I was there. That was really fun. They had like Scara, Marks casting. Yeah,
that is so funny.
Yeah,
it was so unprofessional and wholesome and lovable back then. It still is to an extent, but it's a lot more like, you know, there's big contracts, there's
it's a little bit more
rides.
polish.
Yeah. It's not playing in a shack anymore with 4 of your friends that happen to go to the same school, which is what UIUC was. That was a good time. I ended up not transferring to UC Irvine. They're pretty strict on like out-of-state students. Like you got to be really exceptional to attend a UC school. And I was not. I was pretty average. So then I just went to an in-state school, UIUC, and as it turns out, like at the UC Irvine finals, Illinois was also there, UIUC, and I talked to the manager, Chivas Armando.
Yep.
And you know, I could
good dude.
Kind of smell the blood in the water a little bit. I'm like, this is not gonna last. They're not gonna tolerate the fact that I can't be on site. So I'm like, hey, you guys maybe need a coach? And he's like, yeah, message us. So I didn't even know about the league team at UIUC until that. So I messaged Chivas and I became the coach there. And as it turns out, we just have 4 challenger players. I don't know why. At some cornfield in southern Illinois. But we've got 4 challenger players. We've got Xeno, Ginormous Noob, Topopotamus, NW Project 1.
Yep.
And 4 random challenger players, that's good enough to make top 8.
And this was the year that we scrimmed you a lot.
Did you?
Yes. My
yeah,
was decent.
Who was your mid laner back then? I remember the mid laner.
It was either Dare to the Fi or Deathhawk.
No, it was not Dare to D5.
Then it was Deathhawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Deathhawk was like huge, wasn't he? He was like a jacked guy.
Yeah. He's JC's the man. But we scrimmed you guys a lot because he was like one of the few mid laners that like wouldn't just get shit on by Xeno.
Yeah.
Xeno was really good.
We made a lot of fun of Dare to Defy. We called him Dare to D5 every single time.
Okay, so low key, that guy was like one of the best players I've ever worked with, but he would like only play like 150 games a split, which like get him challenger because he was that good, but like he just he just wasn't like that motivated to like go further than that.
Yeah. I mean, that was enough back then in collegiate.
He was
that
insane, yeah.
Yeah. He went to Harvard recently, I thought.
Yeah,
he transferred out to Harvard.
I'll fill you in afterwards. He's like working for a job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, same thing with Julius, right? Julius, corporate shill for Bezos now.
Yeah, Julius, well, he's coaching AoE now. He was in the chat earlier, so that's good.
Oh, I know. I'm saying that right to his face.
Oh, man. The corporate shill. Love that dude.
Love me some mid lane Julius. Back when Winston shared Julius with Julius, and you had to differentiate between jungle Julius or mid lane Julius. Which one are you talking about? Because they're both in collegiate.
Even though he was challengers both.
Yep.
That's the drunkest part. Julius played mid for Michigan, and he got challenger playing both jungle and mid. And then there was Julius for UWO, like that had like stole his name. And then he was also challenger as jungler, and all that different was like an accent over the U. It was so fucking confusing.
Big 10 was the funniest League of Legends I've ever been a part of. Between us, MSU, and UMich, I could share you so many stories.
Yep.
OSU, yeah. I think
State.
at some point Chivas told Julius to drink bleach for something. Kill yourself was getting thrown around. Just, it's not bad. It's just what you say to people back then.
It's also because like you guys were really close. Like you like hated each other. Like now like everyone's like kind of cool with it.
Oh,
like,
we were good friends. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like there was like a lot of mutual respect. It was a good ass time because at that point I lived with the coach of OSU. He was my roommate. And when I was in Columbus, and so yeah, I'd get in on that a little bit.
I could have a whole podcast on just this.
Oh God,
there's so much to talk about.
Do we have time for a second hour?
I'm up for it. I have too many. Whenever you play versus MSU, you have to ban Garen away from Unpure Ruination
and Kha'Zix.
You ban Kha'Zix away from RBM.
Yep.
You ban Ahri away from Nightshade, and you ban Draven away from Dillaran.
That was back when. Oh yeah, no, that team was actually like really nasty. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. And I remember top 8 of like 2019, Unpure Ruination played like Ghost, Ignite, Predator, Garen mid, and solo killed Chim. And we were going crazy in the stands. We loved it. We were hyping up the boys so hard. That was such a good time.
That team was drunk, but they were really fun to scrim. But they played some wild shit. Yeah. And then, oh God, like this is like way back. You remember Rude Claw's team at GSU? And they just like cheese the fuck out of you like every game.
Yep.
Like level 1, they always had a strat, and then they would just pick like the wildest shit and beat you with it. Like legit. That team was...
And then there's GVU, who they will FF competitive matches because they don't want to play anymore.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's the finals, they'll FF out of it. There's like, all I remember on that team is Enrique. That's the only person I remember.
We made the open mid game because it was like before like you could like F up before 20.
Yeah.
And it was like open mid at like 12 minutes to get out of the match.
You know what the biggest robbery in esports has been under Academy?
What, the open?
No, that we didn't get the conclusion of Longhorn Legends. Do you know what that is?
No.
You don't know what that is?
Was it the Texas tournament?
No, it's the Texas like vlog series where they like document.
Yes. Holy shit! Yes,
we never got a conclusion to that. We never know what happened.
Picked up.
Yeah, I mean, there was that like really tragic thing where like a tree fell and knocked out all the power in their Texas area, and they didn't make it to top 8 because they didn't have power to play anymore. And we never got another episode past that. And they say it's coming. Every 2 months I check in. Where is it? It's coming. It's never coming. The episode's never coming. We're never going to figure out what happened.
It's too bad.
Smacks, you feel left out? What do you want to talk about?
Oh no, like I said, it's
This
time
is
for
a
Cubby
trip
to take
down
it
memory
away.
lane, like for real.
Yeah,
This
Collegiate
really is,
back
guys.
then
I
was so drunk. It was just so, but it was like so fun. Like I would never go back to that, but like it's fun talking about it, you know?
Yes.
Yes.
I am truly an esports baby. I've not been around for very long, especially in collegiate. Like I just got my first taste of that this year, so
Mhm.
I'm just enjoying the story time. Like we're just sitting around the campfire. My mouth is full of s'mores and
Yeah.
just hanging out.
I could tell a lot of collegiate ghost stories around this campfire, but I think we should probably keep it under 3 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh man.
Maybe that'd be a good idea. This has been very fun. I don't know. Are we at an hour? Like, it hasn't been
Yes,
that
sir.
long.
It has gone
All
by
right.
quick,
Well,
but we are there.
it's just been very fun talking with you, Ido. This is actually, for those of you who don't know, this is the second time that Ido has been featured onto this channel. That is because he actually casted one of the OQ games that we
Oh, I
did.
did. I think I said some things that I wasn't allowed to say.
No, I got the clip of it. It was really funny. So I was a
Yeah?
It
big
was
fan.
very good.
Oh yeah. It was good sense of
It's
humor.
good. You guys let me know if EGP doesn't work out. I'm always looking.
Oh yeah. I mean, truthfully, if any person is like big brain in the league space and wants to like do casting stuff, just give it a try, it doesn't hurt to try.
It's
And
fun. It's fun.
yeah, it is fun. That's why I do it. It's because it's
I don't
fun.
know if I'd ever want to be like a. How do you decide? How did you guys decide play by play or color?
Oh, I
Well,
can't.
Cubby and
I can't
I,
form words that well, and I was GM, so there we are.
yeah,
Okay.
Cubby and I hit high elo, and we were just like, oh, we just know stuff, and
Oh, you guys knew each other from solo queue.
no,
No. Okay.
we're both support mains, so we didn't play on the team. Maybe I've
Mhm.
actually, I don't know if I've played against you, Cubby. I wouldn't know.
No, I mean, probably not. I don't know, unless
Well, you
like,
hit high elo in different times, right? Because I
yeah,
did
unless
it in
like the seed
2019.
all. Well, it depends because like I chilled around like D1 whenever I played, but I'd take every summer off for my summer job.
Oh yeah, I did it in summer. So
And so most like I'd like get D1 at like the end of season, start of season, and then like kind of chill. And
Yeah.
like get it back in like the fall when I went back to campus. Like I had to be okay at the game.
yeah.
I made
Well,
my return for one more time. I jungled at the Harrisburg LAN for UIUC. That was
Oh
fun.
God.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
This is another nightmare story.
All
Okay,
right,
so
well,
the way
we got
Harrisburg
time for
worked,
another nightmare story.
One
I
more.
think.
I'll make it real quick.
one more.
The way it worked is you played two groups. So the first group you play in, you play for seeding, and then you get re-scrambled based on your first group seeding. And Columbia College didn't show up to the first half of the day, so they were like a fourth seed team because they just lost all their games by forfeit. They get re-scrambled, and we're in a group with MUA that has like value on it, and Columbia College that still has like Misty Stumpy. And now I'm
Yep.
jungling versus Nintendo and like the Odd Orange, and I'm D1, and I haven't played in a year.
Good luck.
Yeah,
What was I
tough.
supposed to do?
Tough draw.
That was a waste of time.
You just play Master Yi then, right? That's what you have to do.
I think
I
we
think-
did the math that like it was actually better to lose to Columbia in one of the games, and I played like Annie Predator jungle
See, that's,
on
that's exactly what
on
I'm talking
stage.
about.
Yeah, it was
You
streamed,
pull
and
out
I
the
just
weird
played
shit.
Annie Predator jungle, and I ran it down.
You know
But we
what?
tried.
Yep.
Every single player alive in League of Legends hates playing against one champion, and that champion is Shaco. So if you're ever in that situation again, just pull out Shaco. You don't even have
Yep.
to be good.
Just mental
just-
gap them.
Yeah, you just tilt them from that. That's the strategy.
I don't know if
Get rid of it.
Shaco saves me from Nintendo's 1000 damage Gragas cask coming out of fog.
Actually, Shaco's ult does save you from that.
Does
So-
it? I mean, I wouldn't know.
You don't
I'm
get
not
hit.
a dirty Shaco player.
Yeah, me either.
I think it's like
ban that
Kindred,
champion.
alpha things, Kindred.
Oh, see, that's your problem. Kindred loses to Gragas. There you go.
Yeah,
So now we know
Unlucky.
it was doomed from the
it
get-go.
was an unlucky draw.
Well, anyway, yeah, this has been really fun, Ido. Thank you for appearing on the show.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
We're very happy to have you. I believe you approached Cubby, yeah, to be on here.
I did, yeah. I felt like there were
mutual.
things to talk about. Cause,
Yeah,
there
it was
were.
good timing for you guys being in semis, going through a couple roster changes.
yeah,
It
I
was
felt
great
like
you came on.
that was like the biggest thing is like the Shoryu thing hasn't been explained. Tomio was worth talking about. Might as well make some good content out of the hellscape of the past 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's one way to go about it. We're certainly appreciative of that. But take this as a lesson to anyone out there. If you would like to be on the show, just DM Cubby, and he might say yes. So
It'll work. He said some weird thing about how I have to make like a Twitter post about like he's a good caster. It was kind of weird. I did it, but I don't know what he gains from that.
It was after that, and Ida's like, "Yo, when can I get on the podcast?" And I was like, "This week." I was like,
I
"You made
mean,
the post, of course. You know that's
who
how it
knows
works,
what came
/S.
first? I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Who knows? We'll
Who
leave that
knows?
one up
I
to the
don't.
gods.
The timestamps aren't there. Don't look.
Yeah,
may
check
have
the
even been
VOD.
simultaneous. You never know. But yeah, that'll do it here for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. If you made it this far, we appreciate you even more than we appreciate Ido, actually. But don't tell him that. If you want
Hey,
to,
I'm used to it.
if you want to support us and you want to watch some more of our stuff, you can follow us on Twitter at pgroundspod. You can also check us out on all of our audio platforms. We got YouTube, Spotify, Twitch, Google, Anchor, and Apple. I did that in a really weird order and almost threw me off, but I got it. And yeah, we'll see you all on Sunday for another episode of Raising an A. And for Proving Grounds Pod fans, we'll be back on Thursday night after Academy. See you then.